Thank you very much to Mark and to the mayors Against Illegal Guns, mayors who are united, Democrats and Republicans committed across the country in our state of Connecticut and around the country to ensuring that we save lives, that we take common sense, practical steps to save lives. I want to thank my colleague Senator Blumenthal, who has been a champion, as you just heard, on domestic violence and on gun violence prevention for decades now. And I think soon will be joined by literally my neighbor and friend, Senator Murphy. And I really am so delighted to be here with Gwen Moore, and you will hear from her directly. She is truly, I would say, the outstanding champion in the House of Representatives for calling attention to the real cost that is borne every day by tolerating domestic violence in our country. It's unacceptable. But the biggest thanks goes to you, those of you who are assembled here, because you are giving living voice to the cost of domestic violence in our society. And I want to recognize Yvonne Crasso from Meriden, Connecticut, in my district, who is going to tell a powerful story about stolen weapons and loss of life of her sister, who was known to be a victim of domestic violence, who was seeking help. And this is just intolerable that we have not done more. Yvonne lost her sister, Nina, to a gunshot. Nina endured years of domestic abuse from her restraining husband. And that's the actual cost. That is the cost of not addressing domestic violence. That is the cost of not addressing gun violence in this country. And that's why this cause is so important. As we observe Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we need to recommit to take action that we know will help save lives of women and men across the country. Earlier this year, I was proud to support, as those of us in this room who have the honor of representing folks in Congress, to support the Violence Against Women Act. And it's a critical step to ensuring that women across the country are protected from domestic violence. It was long overdue, and it only happened after the House of Representatives was allowed, I will note, to take a vote on this important action. We need to be able to take votes for our government and for our law enforcement officials to have greater ability to combat and prevent domestic violence. And because we had that vote, more survivors now have access to services that they need to be safe and to rebuild their lives. So it was a rare bright spot in this dysfunctional Congress. We were able to make real progress. But the fact is, if we don't address gun violence, we're not doing everything we can and must do to combat domestic violence and to save women's lives. The facts speak for themselves, and you're going to hear this a lot because these figures matter, because in each and every case, it is a person who has lost her life. 44% of women murdered by guns in 2011 were killed by a current or former domestic partner. More importantly, the courageous survivors and families joining us today, some of whom you'll hear from, give voice to that very real cost of gun violence. And that is the cost. That is the sadly growing cost of Congress's failure to take action on common sense reforms to prevent gun violence, particularly enhanced background checks, which we know work. We've seen setbacks, but we cannot and we will not give up. Because the life of Nina Michelle, Bradley, and Christy, Yvonne Casso's sister, is too great a cost. The lives of 20 innocent children and 6 brave educators in Newtown, Connecticut is too great a cost. The shooting of 6 people in New Haven, Connecticut this past weekend is too great a cost. The life of 1 teacher and wounding of 2 children in Sparks, Nevada last week is too great a cost. The murder of 12 hardworking Americans just a mile and a half from where we are today is too great a cost. The average of 46 women a month who are shot to death by current or former partners is too great a cost. We can't accept that, and we won't accept that. Now, the opponents of common sense gun reforms will continue to insist on fear and spread half-truths and try to obstruct reform. But our cause is right. Our cause is saving lives, and our cause is protecting those that we love. And our solutions are absolutely common sense. Plain common sense reforms ensure that those who are not allowed to have access to guns don't have access to guns.